The movie opens with African-American family moving into their new home. The family consists of Derek Charles, his wife Sharon and their baby, Kyle. Derek and Sharon move around the house. This includes a tour of the attic, which is only beams and insulation. The game ends in their bedroom where the two enjoy a quickie while awaiting the moving van. When the movers arrive, Sharon directs the layout of the furniture and Derek heads into his office. Arriving at his office, he jumps into a crowded elevator and notices a white, blonde hot chick carrying a stack of files. She remains in the elevator after everyone else gets off. She checks him out when he's not looking and he does the same. When she drops all the files, he bends to help her and their hands touch. Derek looks uncomfortable and she smiles. When he gets off on his floor, she does the same. He asks her whom she's there to see and she says Derek Charles. He tells her to watch out because he heard Derek Charles is a real asshole and tells her good luck. She later realizes his little joke and drops the files off with his assistant. Derek is a very successful asset manager with a large firm. As Derek leaves for the day, he meets her on his way out. She introduces herself as Lisa Sheridan. He tells good luck on her next assignment. She looks a little sad and turns back to her computer and look at his profile. The next day Derek arrives at work to find Lisa sitting at the desk of his assistant, Patrick. He asks what happened to Patrick and she replies, stomach flu. Lisa sits across from Derek and he rattles up a list of things to do, many of which she has already taken care of. Lisa proves to be a creepy but very capable assistant. She even listens in on Derek and Sharon's conversations. When Derek and Sharon are talking one night, she asks why he didn't return her call and he says I didn't get the message. He then tells her the new girl got the message wrong and gave him the wrong name. His wife asks him where is Patrick and he tells her out sick. They had agreed no female assistants and tells him to get rid of her. Patrick returns and he breathes a sigh of relief that Lisa is gone, but then he sees her at the desk of Marge, who is Joe's assistant. Patrick and Lisa have bonded. The next day at work, Derek walks into the break room and finds Lisa in tears. She tells him she was just dumped and wonders if there's something wrong with her. He tells her that she is a smart and beautiful woman and if he was single, he cuts himself off and pats her arm and says everything is going to be okay. As he's leaving, Ben walks in and looks at the two of them questioningly. The office Christmas party approaches and no spouses are allowed. At the party, Derek dances with Marge for a little while before Lisa cuts in. They dance for a while. Then Derek walks away heading to the men's room. Lisa suddenly appears and follows him inside. She is all over him, trying to kiss him, pulling his shirt out of his pants as he tries in vain to avoid her. He tells her to stop and leaves the men's room. He grabs his jacket and hurriedly leaves the party. That night as he slips into bed, Sharon asks, "Did anything exciting happen?" And Derek says nothing happened. Derek later confides to Ben about what happened at the party. He tells Ben that he's going to HR to get rid of Lisa and Ben tells him to be careful, she may turn it around on him. He goes to see the HR manager Hank and says he needs to talk to him about Lisa. Hank tells him Lisa has resigned. Derek breathes a sigh of relief and tells Hank that he thought she might have been in over her head. That evening in the parking garage, Derek gets into his car to leave. As he turns to fasten his seatbelt, Lisa jumps into the car wearing a trench coat and she opens the coat to reveal a sexy bra/panty outfit complete with fishnet stockings. She tells him, it's okay now that they no longer work together. He reaches over her, opens the door and starts to push her out. He peels away with her standing there. That night, he vows to tell Sharon what's going on. He walks into the house and Sharon is sitting at the dining room table holding the phone and a glass of wine. He sees the sad look on her face and asks what's wrong. She says, I just spent the last hour and a half talking my sister off the ledge. It seems her husband had confessed to having an affair and is leaving her. Well, of course, he doesn't tell her about Lisa. Big mistake. After a New Year's Eve party, Derek and Sharon return home when his email beeps. Derek sees it's from Lisa and tries to ignore it. When she goes into the bathroom, he opens the email and it's a sexy picture of Lisa. At work the next day he emails Lisa, saying simply, leave me alone. The message goes right past her as she responds with a big happy face that winks at Derek. A few days later, Derek is packing for a work retreat. She tells him to behave and don't get too drunk doing all that male bonding. At the retreat, the waitress brings Derek a drink and says it's from the woman at the bar. As he turns, he can only see a partial view of the woman. He sees Lisa approaching him. He tells her flat out that nothing is going to happen between them and to get some help. His phone rings and when he turns to answer, Lisa slips a powdered substance in the glass. Later that night, Ben and Derek are walking down the hall. Derek is visibly drunk. He goes into his room as Ben reminds him of their 9 o'clock meeting. Derek falls across the bed moaning. He turns over to see Lisa hovering over him. He's incapable of fighting her off, as she rubs and massages and kisses him. Derek passes out. The next morning he wakes up in obvious hangover. He jumps out of bed and makes it to the meeting by 10:15. 2 hours later, the meeting is still dragging on when the desk clerk interrupts to tell Derek his wife is in the lobby. Derek excuses himself and of course it's Lisa. Now, he's getting angry. She starts rambling again about how he wants her, how he told her if he was single they'd be together and on and on. He tells her there will never be anything between them and she needs to leave him alone. He turns and goes back into the meeting. Later on, Derek enters his room and lo and behold, Lisa is in his bed. He notices an empty pill bottle and the fact that she's unconscious. He calls 911. We later see Lisa on a gurney and Derek telling Ben he'll explain it all later. That night, the phone awakens Ben. It's Sharon asking where Derek is, as he's not answering his cell and she hasn't heard from him. He tells her that maybe she should talk to Derek at the hospital. Of course she freaks out and heads over to the hospital. Before he can tell her what has happened, Detective Reese asks why Lisa tried to overdose in Derek's bed. Sharon comes unglued. Lisa even gave Derek as her emergency contact. The ride home is tense and Sharon explodes as soon as the sitter leaves. She accuses Derek of sleeping with Lisa, which he of course denies. He tells Sharon about all the things that Lisa did and she asks why in the hell am I just hearing all this? She reminds him about their vow to always tell each other the truth. He says he's so sorry and orders him out of their house. Detective Reese visits Lisa in the hospital and questions her about their relationship. Lisa tells her that Derek is going to divorce Sharon and they will be together. She asks if Derek is there to see her. Detective Reese tells her that she doesn't think Derek wants to see her. As a matter of fact, she knows he doesn't. Lisa asks, well, why did he send those flowers? There is a huge bouquet on the table with a card reading, I'm so sorry about yesterday, I love you. Derek. Detective Reese looks at the card and Lisa very skeptically. After talking with Lisa, Detective Reese meets with Derek and tells him about the flowers. Derek says that Lisa must have taken the credit card info when she worked in his office and sent the flowers to herself to make it appear to everybody that he cares for Lisa. Detective Reese also reveals a journal Lisa kept detailing all the intimate details of their romance, which of course never happened. Derek again stresses that Lisa is crazy and he's worried about what she might do. Detective Reese reassures him that he doesn't have to worry as Lisa is now in San Francisco with her sister. The next few scenes are of Derek in his hotel room, playing with his son and Sharon alone at home. We later find out that he has been out of the house for a few months. One day he drops his son off at home and tells Sharon that his birthday is approaching and asks if he can spend it with her. She agrees to go to dinner with him. She tells him she has a gift but will give it to him once she sees how the evening goes. During dinner he begs Sharon to let him return home. He tells her she and Kyle are his world and he wants his family back. She slides the box over to him and it's his house key. Back at the house, the babysitter Samantha is texting and listening to music as the doorbell rings. She opens the door and it's Lisa. She waltzes in saying she's a friend of Sharon's and she has a present for Kyle and heads upstairs. Samantha tries to stop her when she pulls out her cell phone and has a pretend conversation with Sharon. When she finishes, she turns and says it will only be a second. Lisa heads to the nursery and stands looking down at Kyle. The next scene shows Lisa rocking Kyle and kissing his head. Lisa then leaves without Samantha even noticing. Derek and Sharon arrive home and Samantha tells her your friend stopped by. They both bolt up the stairs and find the nursery empty. Derek runs for the car to search for him and sees Kyle in his car seat with a huge lipstick kiss on his forehead. Cut to the hospital and the doctor telling Sharon and Derek that the baby is fine. Detective Reese offers Derek and Sharon police protection and Derek asks if he should buy a gun. Instead he opts for installing a security system. At the office, Patrick gets a surprise call from Lisa who he hasn't heard from in months. She asks him hasn't he heard the news. He asks what news? She tells him Derek is divorcing Sharon to be with her. He laughs and says that can't be true because they are planning a big weekend visiting Sharon's parents. Motormouth spills the beans that Kyle is with Sharon's sister. Sharon is driving to her parents and Derek will travel by plane the following day. Lisa abruptly hangs up. Back at the house, Sharon is preparing to leave for the weekend. She gets into her car and calls Derek to tell him she is heading out. He asks did she turn on the security system. She remembers that she didn't and heads back to the house. Cut to the house and Lisa breaking in through the back door and entering the house carrying a bottle of champagne and 2 glasses. She goes into their bedroom and takes off her clothes. She sprinkles rose petals all over the bed. Downstairs, Sharon enters the house and is entering the alarm code when she hears the pop of the champagne bottle upstairs. When she enters the bedroom, Lisa is in their bed. When Lisa approaches her, Sharon grabs her and slings her toward the door. At this moment the phone rings. Both women make a mad dash for the phone and Sharon grabs it first. She tells him that she found Lisa in their house and then simply says, "I'm going to have to call you back," and then hangs up. Sharon turns towards Lisa, and a climatic and very brutal catfight begins. The 2 women kick, slap, punch, and finally tumble their way down a staircase. While Sharon is stunned, Lisa gets up and runs back upstairs. Sharon is right on her heels and the women end up in the attic. Sharon backs up along a strip of wood, taunting Lisa to come and get her. Lisa swings and falls onto a weak portion of flooring and falls through. Suddenly having a change of heart over letting Lisa die, Sharon grabs Lisa's hand and tries to pull her up. But in return, the psychotic Lisa tries to pull Sharon with her. Sharon fries Lisa's fingers apart and Lisa drops, crashing into the table below. Lying amidst the glass and twisted metal, Lisa slowly opens her eyes and tries to move. Weakened by her fall through the ceiling, the chandelier suddenly falls, spearing Lisa beneath it, killing her at last. Sharon slowly walks out the front door as Detective Reese drives up asking what happened. Sharon says, "You know what happened," and she walks into Derek's arms. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.